Hi there. I'm really looking forward to sharing with you something a little bit different in this video. An approach to in-play trading. I've been asked quite a lot about this recently, so I thought I would make this strategy for the members area about one of the ways in which I look for horses that are likely to shorten in running. And it's quite a simple approach, just using some basic information. So I've got here tomorrow's racing open, and I'm just going to come to the Leicester 250. Now, the reason I've chosen this race is because it's a race where all the horses have got a significant amount of experience, as we can see here in their last 6 form figures. It's also a race that is taking place over a decent distance, as you can see here, 1 mile 7 furlongs. So I don't like to use this approach in races less than a mile, and ideally over 1 mile 2 furlongs, 1 mile 2 furlongs or longer. There's also a fair number of runners, which I quite like, although smaller fields are okay as well. But what I'm really looking for is a few horses that look to be the strongest in the field. And we can see there's a couple in this race that meet that criteria, and that's one of the things that makes it stand out. So I'm just going to sort by the PR odds column here, and we can see that we've got Lightly Squeezed and Mia Grace 1 and 2. And if I click on the PR odds value and bring up the actual scores and sort by the probability from high to low, we can see that they Mia Grace, then Top Gamble, and then Lightly Squeeze comes a little bit further down. But they're all contenders, these three, and they're all looking to be strong in the field. But I'm particularly interested in Mia Grace, Lightly Squeezed. That's also because they are currently top of the market. So I like to use this, to be honest, on ideally the favourite, possibly the top 2, and definitely no more than the top 3 favourites in the race. So I wouldn't actually consider, let's just sort this again, I wouldn't consider Top Gamble here in this race because it's not in that top 3. So Mia Grace and Lightly Squeeze fit the conditions there. So just to run through that again, we've got a race here. All the horses have some decent amount of form. It's over a distance that's more than 1 mile 2 furlongs. It's 1 mile 7 furlongs. Lightly Squeeze and Mia Grace are contenders in our PR odds, so both on the tissue line here, and then also when we open the details, marked as contenders here as well. And they're also top of the market. So they're both fulfilling all the criteria. You'll also see that there's a fair gap to the next best in the market as well. So they're obviously currently, but this is the night before, markets can change a lot, obviously, overnight. So that's why I'm going to choose them. It's also worth pointing out here that Lightly Squeeze is also number 1 on the 5278, and both of them have had a good race recently. So just a few indicators. I'm not going hugely into their form. I'm not particularly interested in their form. I just want to know whether they have a chance. I don't want to be placing these trades on horses that have got absolutely no chance at all. Now, the next piece of information I'd like to have a quick glance at is the predicted pace, and this is predicted to be fast. So if there's a lot of leaders, they're likely to burn out and not finish in position, even more so because this is on soft ground. But often these races are won by early pressers, and you can read all this information here and it will tell you that. But these types of races are often won by early pressers, mid-pack horses. Occasionally a closer may take it, or a leader might take it if there is only a single leader in the race. So I'm just going to throw out the pace figures here, and we can see that Mia Grace and Lightly Squeeze, closer and mid-pack. That's the running style, that's preferred. But actually I'd just like to have a look at the total pace scores. And Mia Grace is likely to have quite a front pace actually. And where are we? Let's come down here. Lightly Squeeze is likely to be somewhere mid-pack, although it prefers to close. It's likely to be kind of towards the back, mid-pack towards the back, if that makes sense. But there's a chance that Mia Grace is actually going to lead in this race, although the horse's running style is mid-pack. So that's just something to bear in mind there as well, that actually Mia Grace's odds may drop initially, which is great, but then likely Squeeze likes to close, so we may not see the drop until a little bit further into the race on that horse. Again, it's not critical, it's just a brief piece of information. It just helps us to process a little bit more. Now, here comes what I'm really interested in. When I found a horse or a couple of horses in a race like this, and we found these horses, they look to be strong, they look to be potentially competitive. We've not gone into a huge amount of detail, we're just looking. The market says they're competitive. Our tissue line, our contenders sort of hint to the same thing. So everything looks like they've got a chance of actually running a decent race. Obviously, aside things happening in the race that you can't account for. Now, I'm opening the horse's history here. And you'll see I'm going to change the race card. So we can click on a race card here, and that takes us away from the standard form of the race, and we get to see whatever race card was selected, and by default you can see I had the standard, so it's just loaded up here the standard race card again, and we can see every horse's history and the actual ratings on the race card we've chosen, and we can change that by just selecting one of our other race cards. So I've made this Betfair in-play race card here, and what this just has is very simply, it has the Betfair in-play high and the Betfair in-play low for each race. And what I like to do, first of all, is I just like to scan down. And obviously, generally speaking, where the in-play low is 1.01, the horse won that race, and you can just see that here, 1, 1, 1, so that's why that's that. But then as we come down, we can see Betfair in-play low 2.06. I'm not really interested in the high so much, to be honest. I just have it there as a reference point. What I'm interested in is the SP. So, pardon me. So we've got the SP here, and obviously it won these three races, so the low is going to be higher. But 2.75 was the SP, would have been higher on Betfair. Generally speaking, we can assume we'd have got higher than SP on Betfair. In-play low is 2.06. SP of 3, in-play low 1.6, SP of 7, in-play low 2, won this race. SP 4, in-play low 4.3, didn't drop in that race. SP 2.1, in-play low 1.6, SP of 13, in-play low 9. Again, SP of 34, so this is a right rank outside here, all-weather race, so I'm not really going to consider that. You'll notice all its wins, I'll come back to this, but all its wins are not on all-weather, so... and then scrolling down, 21.8, again not great for this one. 67.200, but again we wouldn't be betting on this horse anyway if it had odds of 67. But generally, as we go down, we can see, apart from races going back a long time, like a couple of years, all of its recent races, which is what we're most interested in, things from kind of the last year, this horse's odds have dropped down. Now we can't get an indication of how much it's dropped. So by that I mean, we know that, for example, it went off at 7 in this race, dropped down to 2. But we don't know how much money was matched at 2. It could have been £2. It could have been £2,000. We don't know how much money was actually matched at that price. So always assume you're not going to get the lowest. You're going to get, a few ticks higher. But we'd have been happy with 2.53. We'd been happy with 6.5, to be honest. If we'd got odds of 7 and traded out at 6.5, great. So that's the first thing. So we're looking for a horse a bit like this. It's met the criteria we've already said. It looks like it's going to be strong. The market's favouring it. Potentially, we can also see externally to the market that it has the potential to contend. All very quick, and don't get too bogged down in it. We're just looking for this information to build a rough picture. Pardon me. We've got that. Then we're looking to see if, generally speaking, this horse has lower in-play odds and it goes off at SP. And we can see that it does. Next, I just want to confirm, like always, how this horse is likely to perform over the ground. Now we know it's 1 mile 7 furlong. Well, great. Its last race was actually 1 mile 7 furlong on soft ground, carrying 11.12. Today, tomorrow's horse is going to be carrying 12, so £2 probably not going to make a huge difference. and similar sort of class as well. So this tells us straight away this horse can win. The other thing we want to look at is similar odds. So this horse is kind of odds on at the moment. It was odds on last time, won. But again, when it's always priced low, we'll see that the odds, generally speaking, have always dropped. So we've got 3 here. The only one that didn't was this 4. But otherwise, all of its lower odds is dropped in play. Again, that's a really good mark. So we've just done 2 things there. We've shown it can race over similar conditions. That is perfect. That's exactly what we want to see. And on top of that, we've seen that when it's in similar odds brackets, so a similar odds range to the race it's about to go in, the odds have, generally speaking, always dropped. So these are all good signs. So now we've got a number of ticks or checkpoints against this horse. It's top of the market. A quick glance at the tissue odds indicate it's top of our tissue odds. It's marked as a contender in a couple of ratings. It's had some good races recently. It's proven it can race over these conditions and win. If it can prove that it's raced over the conditions and strongly contend, so come within a couple of lengths of the winner regularly, that's good as well. That's fine. We've seen that, generally speaking, in the last year, it's had an in-play low, which is less than its SP, which is great. Bearing in mind as well that we'll probably get higher odds than SP on Betfair anyway when we do this. And then we've also checked to see that when this horse is in a similar odds range to what is going to be in this race, actually pretty much every single time it's dropped in play. So great, that makes a likely squeeze a good potential trade. Next we want to have a look at the other horse, which is Mia Grace. And we just repeat the same process. So have a quick look over here, SP2, and it won this race obviously. 3, it dropped. 8.5 it won, 5 it dropped, 21. So every single race has not got as many races, but every single race in 2019, since this all started racing, it has dropped in play, which is absolutely perfect. Can it race over slimmer conditions? Well, we've got 2 miles here in a higher class race on soft ground, 10-10, only beaten by 1.5 lengths. Great. A similar race on soft ground over a longer distance, carrying 10-5, won by 11 lengths. Again, over a longer distance, heavy ground, won by 1.25 lengths. Today, this horse is carrying 11-12 in weight. So it's carrying quite a lot more extra weight, but then again, the distance is also that much shorter. This is only 1 mile 7 furlongs, and these are kind of 2 mile races. Now, we've already also, remember, we mentioned that this horse may be at the front of the pack, so there is a chance that this horse may tire out. It's carrying a lot more weight. The race is a bit shorter, but it is carrying a lot more weight. And that could hamper it, but also if it's running out the front, it could potentially tire early. So there's a little warning sign there. The risk is likely to be a bit higher on this horse than the other one because of that. Doesn't mean it's not worth doing a trade on, but just highlighting the fact that if you are more risk adverse, you might want to pass on Mia Grace and just go with the one horse here in lightly squeeze. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back in another video.